So what are we talking about today? We are talking about getting interactive with Google Slides. Yay! You can sign up for my newsletter and find out more information about me at educatoralexander.com. And you may be wondering, well, who are you, woman? I am Dr. Desiree Alexander, and I am the Regional Director of North Louisiana for an educational nonprofit in the state of Louisiana. And I'm also the founder CEO of Educator Alexander Consulting, and that takes me around the globe teaching educators, and I love doing it. I started my career as a 6th grade and 8th grade English teacher, became a high school English teacher, a middle school librarian, a high school librarian, and then a district level instructional technology a supervisor. So that's been my 19 years in education, and now I am doing this, and I'm loving it. And this is how you can contact me. So this is all of my contact information, and it's a video, so you can pause it. So we will move on. But this is how you can contact me on Twitter. I'm at Educator Alex. All other social media, Educator Alexander, including, if I do say so myself, a really healthy YouTube channel that has a lot of different videos on it that you can choose from, but we do not have time to waste. So we're going to hop straight into Google Slides and let's start getting interactive. So I am here on Google Slides. So we're going to talk about how to be interactive. Now, I will say that I'm going to be going pretty quickly in this video because I want to show you as many different tips as I can during our time together. And remember, it's a video, so you can pause and rewind it and go, what did she say? And catch everything. So the first thing, of course, that we want to do is go ahead and give our presentation a title. I like to call my stuff delete, so I can delete it later because I don't want to keep this presentation. So we have our themes up, and we know that we never have a whole bunch of themes. So we're going to look at where we can get more really nice themes a little bit later. But I'm just going to X this out. And now I am here. I actually want a blank slide to play with. So most of us will click the plus sign, and then we'll just click on these boxes and we'll delete them, right? But there's an easier way to click on this little arrow and click on blank. So I'm going to just go ahead and get a blank slide. Now I have to because I deleted the boxes, and I am ready and good to go. So we want to really hop into the interactivity of Google Slides. And then as we're going, I'm going to be giving you some basic tips as well. And you may think, well, that's not basic. I didn't know that. Or you may say, well, oh, yeah, I already knew that, but I like that other tip. So that's how we're going to do this. So the first thing I want to show you is how to create drag and drop slides. So a lot of us like drag and drop. But I will say that I have taught this to middle school and high school, and I kind of hear a little grumbling, and they're like, oh, drag and drop is for littles or for elementary. It's actually not. If you really start to rethink some of the assessments and some of the questions that you're asking your students, drag and drop could be for anything from fill in the blank to put these in order. I saw a science teacher that was really, really awesome. He put a cell in different stages of the, progression of the cell, and the students had to put it in order, or they had to label it. So you can do a lot of different stuff with drag and drop, and it's a little bit different than your normal, like, womp womp kind of assessment, right? So I have my blank slide. This is the thing with drag and drop. So if I come here and I insert a box, a shape, you also have your little, links right here as well. But everything is really under insert if you don't want to, use those. But if I come here and I go ahead and insert a shape, so I'm just going to insert a box. And then I want to do another box. Let's say I want to do a yes and no, and I want the student to move the check mark, something really simple. Now to do another box, because I want this exact same size. So instead of coming and drawing another one and trying to make it the same size, of course you can copy and paste. So a lot of us will right click copy, right click paste, or we'll click on it and do Control C and Control V. I like to click on it and then click my mouse back over it. And I use the Control key to make a copy. So all I do is I click on it, I click and keep my mouse on it, and then I just drag using the Control key. Love it. Very quick way to make a copy. So now I'm going to do my words. So I'm going to do a text box. Again, it's also under insert. So I'm just going to say yes, if I can spell. All right, so I have my yes, and of course I'm gonna make this like super duper big and nice, and I'm not gonna spend much time on making it cute. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same trick. I'm gonna click on the box itself, keep my mouse down, hit control and drag. So now I can put no. So you saw how easy that was. I really cannot spell today. You saw how easy that was to create, right? And then I would usually come here to insert image. I'm just going to search the web for a check mark. And if you're seeing this, you're like, oh, I didn't know you can get images that way. Well, there you go. That's a nice little quick tip. So I have my check mark, and there you go. I give this to the student. Well, what happens? You give it to the student, and when you get it back, this is over here. The yes is over here. The check mark is up here. And the no is probably just like off the screen. And you're like, what in the world just happened? So you want to make this to where your students cannot move the stuff you don't want them to move. So let's go ahead and put this back how it was. And let me show you a tip of how to do this. Now, I used to teach, I like to call it step one of this tip. And step one of this tip is to create a picture and upload it as a background. But I'm going to show you why I call this step one. Because, okay, so I have this. I'm going to delete the check mark because I actually want them to move the check mark around, but I don't want them to move any of this. So I'm going to create this slide and do everything on it except put the stuff that I want them to move. So this is kind of a step one tip. I can come to File, and I can download this as an image. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw that image on my desktop. And then what I would do on the second slide is I would come here to background, choose image, and I'm going to go ahead and upload that image back and click done. So notice what it did. Now the student cannot move this around because it's in the background. Then I can put my check mark on here and keep going. Well, the reason why I call this a step one tip is that it's really good until something happens. And what I mean by that is it doesn't have to be your students being malicious or anything like that. It could honestly be a mistake. So what could happen is, let's say your student is on this slide or this slide, and they say, okay, I'm going to add another slide that I want to play with, but I want this background to be yellow. So they come to background and they change the color to yellow, and they click add to theme, and they click done. Look what just happened to your background. Now, this is the one that they can move. So this is the one we don't want to use anyway, right? But look what just happened to your background. So then you're going to get that email or that raised hand, and they're going to say, it went away. I don't know where it is. So that's why this is a step one tip. It's good until it's not. So the mega tip is to use something that you may have heard of or may not have heard of, and that is the master slide. Now, sometimes when I'm teaching this, I will hear people kind of go, oh, I don't want to mess anything up. I don't want to play with the master slide. But you have to understand that the master slide gives you all of the power in Google Slides. So when you're in Google Slides, you really do want to go and build on the master. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here to slide, and I am going to go to edit theme. So it used to be master slide. So just keep that in mind that it has updated. Now, if yours has not updated, then it still may say master slide. But notice it says updated. So we're going to go to edit theme. Now, it shows me that I am on the simple light blank layout. Let me get out of here. So these are all of my different layouts. You see there? So sometimes you don't want to mess up the layouts that you already have. If that's the case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up my master slide, edit theme. And I'm actually going to add a slide. I actually did this by mistake just now, but I'm going to click the plus sign and add a slide. Now, whatever I do to this slide becomes a layout. And that's what we like about not messing up the layouts we already have and just adding a slide and creating a separate layout. Now I'm going to delete one of these because I don't want two. I just want one. And I can rename this. So if I want to rename this true and false, and then I can do another one and rename it, you know, check mark or whatever. You can kind of create your own templates. Yay! So what we're going to do here is we're going to do the exact same thing that we did out here. I'm going to come here. I'm going to actually delete this because I don't need this box. I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard. And then I'm going to add my stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and add a shape. And remember, you can pause this at any time and all that good stuff. So I'm just using all the same tips that I just showed you. I'm going to add my text box. Add in my text box. Now, could I go over here and copy and paste? Yes, you could. And that would be super smart. Sometimes I'm not super smart. And I'm just going to build it again myself. Don't judge me. All right. So I have my yes box, and then I'm going to use my little control and bring it down. And I have my no box. Okay. So now I have created this as a layout, and I'm going to call this layout. I'm going to rename it and call it yes, no. So anytime I have a yes, no question in this slideshow, I can use this. So I'm done with this, and I'm going to click the X. So now I have a layout. You may be like, well, Desiree, this is the same picture you did earlier, and this is the one you can move. Correct, because I haven't added my layout. If I come here to the arrow, ta-da, now I have a yes, no slide layout. What? And no one can do anything to it. Even if the student came and changed the background to yellow and added it to the theme, it does not change what I did in the master slide. I just blew somebody's mind. I already know. Somebody just teared up. I'm sorry. You're good, though. You're good. Okay. So there you go. I'm going to actually change the background back to white so we don't have any problems later. And I can go ahead and add my check mark and give it to my kiddos because there's nothing they can do to change this besides going into the master slide. And my thing is, if they go into the master slide to mess this up, then that is malicious, right? Like you did that on purpose. You can't get to the master slide by mistake and mess it up by mistake. So that's when I would just deal with the classroom management issue. Okay, so that is an awesome way to do that. Now, one more thing about the master slide, because we are going to go back there throughout this class. So if I go back to slide and edit theme, I showed you how I add it. But if I come all the way to the top, whatever I do to this slide at the top will be done to all slides. So for example, if I wanted to go ahead and add, let's say my logo. So I'm going to upload from the computer. I'm going to go to presentations and add my logo. So of course, I mean, I do love myself, but I don't want it that big. So I'm going to add my logo, let's say right there in the corner, right? And there is no save, just like regular Google. So you're just going to click the X to get out of it. Now, every one of these has the little logo, right? And they can't get rid of my logo unless they go. And you may be questioning, Desiree, why are your stuff still yellow? That's because when I came here and I changed the background, I didn't add it to the theme. I just changed it for that one slide. So let's go ahead and add it to the theme and hit done. And now they're all white again. All right. So you already see the power of the master slide. All right. So now I'm going to talk about other things that we do when we're creating drag and drop. So one of the things is adding pictures and adding words. So if I come here and let's say I want to add a bunch of pictures. So I'm just going to add a couple just for time's sake. But if I come here and I want to add images, I'm just going to search the web. And you know what? All of these are amazing. I love, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. But I did add one. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to come back to insert image, search the web, and let's see, I'm going to just start dragging them. So if you notice what I'm doing, instead of double clicking them, or instead of clicking and then clicking insert, I'm dragging them. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want this window to stay open. So that's a little trick if you've ever tried to get a bunch of pictures and the window keeps closing on you. So you have to keep going back to insert image. So that's just a little trick for you. You can just drag them in. Now, of course, I'm dragging in a bunch of check marks, but again, don't judge me. You don't know my assignment. Okay. So I have a bunch of check marks that I want to use. Some of them are covering my box. I'm gonna make them a little bit smaller. Now, one of the awesome things with pictures, and when you want to put a bunch of pictures on here, is a lot of my teachers start freaking out a little bit because you run out of space, right? Depending on how big this part is, you may have to make the images really, really small over here, and the student can, has to kind of do this to see them. Well, do know on a Google slide, all of this gray space is what I call real estate. So you can actually put the pictures on this gray space and your students will see them. So think about how that just opens up your world when you have a whole bunch of stuff to give your students. You don't have to give any slide space to that. You can put all of the stuff you want them to drag, whether it's words, pictures, whatever, on the side. And then your whole slide can be whatever you want it to be. And then the student can take it and drag it. Another cool tip about this is if you go to File and you scroll down and go to Page Setup, you can actually change the size of this page. So right now it's widescreen 16.9. I can do standard. Wow, look at my real estate. Look at how much more space I have, right, on the sides versus in the middle. So it just depends on where you really need the space. Do you need it in the middle or do you need it on the sides? I can also come here and go to Page Setup and go to Custom and make it look like a sheet of paper. So let's say 8.5 by 11. So now it looks more like a sheet of paper. And of course, you kind of want to do this before you start doing it, right? Then you won't have to resize stuff and just blah, blah, blah. This little thing is giving me a problem. All right, there we go. So then you won't have to resize all this stuff to make it work. So you want to go ahead and choose your page size if you can before you get started. But look how awesome this is. So you can really make it whatever size you want to using File, Page Setup. So I'm going to go right back to my 16.9 and just leave it. Now all my pictures are over here. I'm going to bring them all back. And you see where you can kind of give yourself more real estate. You don't want your students to drag this bar, right? What are you going to hear? I don't see it. I don't see it on the screen. So you don't want them to have to drag this bar any further than they have to. But there you go. So now I want to talk about words when you're doing drag and drop, because a lot of us try to use text boxes and they just don't work that well. They're okay, but they're not the best. So if I do, let's say I wanted to do a fill in the blank, and I come here and I do a text box and I say yes. Not that inventive, but again, don't judge me. So I'm gonna make the text box smaller. But the thing with a text box is it's not, as you can see right now, it's not that easy to move, right? Like you have to kind of get right on the box to move it. And while we may be used to this, sometimes our students are not, especially depending on the grade level. It's also very, very easy to change this and to mess it up, because as soon as you click in it, it's ready to type. So there are two other solutions, and you can see which one works the best for you. So the first solution is to actually use word art. So if I come here to insert word art, and a lot of us remember word art from back in the day, and you made all kind of stuff. But it's a little bit different. So I can come here and say, let's say I want the word to be cat. So I have my word cat, and notice when I click off of it, you see how my toolbar looks? When I click on it, the toolbar is for this. So your toolbar is constantly changing in Google Slides depending on what you click on. And notice I couldn't click on this because it's part of my theme master slide. But if I click this, I can actually change the color and make it look a little bit more lively and stuff like that. So let's say I wanted to use these words. And the thing with word art is this pretty much like a picture. So when they move it, it's very, very easy to move because it's like a picture. Now, can they change it? Yes, they can, but they actually have to double click on it to get to change it. So again, not perfect, but a little bit better than the text box. So they can move this and you can make it smaller and longer and, kind of whatever you want to do. But there you go. I don't like making it longer, picture etiquette, you always go by the corners, but you get my point. So then they can move that in. The other option you can use is a shape. So if I come here and let's say we use this shape, I'm going to double click in the shape and I can type. I had a teacher the other day going, what? I'm like, yes, it's always been here. So I'm going to put that this is dog. And she said, well, I've been putting the shape and then putting a text box on top of the shape. I'm like, no, just double click in the shape. You're good. So there you go. And of course I can make this cute. I'm not going to waste time doing all of that, but there you go. And now again, this is easier to move. Now, can they double click and change it? Yes, they can. But again, a little bit easier, a little bit better than trying to move a text box. Now, oh, see, it caught me. Than trying to move a text box. So personally, I like word art. I also think it's a little cleaner, but you also have the option of doing shapes. And of course, you can just do your regular text box, but these move a little bit easier. All right, so that's a lot for making your drag and drop slides. Now, the cool thing about this is, again, try to rethink your curriculum and rethink your assessments. What could you do instead of paper and pen, or instead of some of the things that we do, that we can do it this way that's a little bit more interactive? And it may just be a homework assignment, right? But just something different. Okay, so I'm going to delete this. Notice when I come here to my arrow, I still have my yes, no. Now, I do want to say something else about this. So if I click my yes, no, and I save this as delete, let's say I start a new slideshow, because I get this question usually after the training because I usually don't go through it. So I have a brand new slideshow and I want to use my yes, no. It's gone. So I do want to say, when you create these, they only stay for that slideshow. However, you can always go back to that slideshow, don't copy in here, copy the actual slide, and then I can bring it here and paste it. Now, notice it says, do you want to keep original styles? Do you want to match it so it looks like the rest of the presentation? You can do whatever you want to do here. Do you want to link it? So what that means is whatever happens here will also happen here. Sometimes that's kind of cool. You're like, yeah, that's awesome. And then other times you're like, no, I want this to be a completely new slideshow. I don't want it to be connected. So I'm just going to say match styles in this presentation, which, I mean, there's nothing to match. But now I can use it like that as well. Now it doesn't become, it does, become part of your layout, because you've added it and it knows that it was a layout slide. So if I want to come here, I can add another one. So just keep that in mind. I've even had some of my teachers do, what do you call that? Do a whole slideshow just with like template slides, and they'll go and get them and put them in the slideshows. I do want to point out one thing. If you notice that my logo is missing, that's because when I copied it, I told it to match what was already going on. If I say keep original, my logo will be there. So keep original kind of keeps what's going on with this slide. But if I tell it to match, this logo is not part of the master slide. So that's why I took it off. So I always like to point out that little stuff that sometimes when I watch training, I see that and I'm like, why didn't she explain that? So there you go. Again, I'm going really quickly, but you can pause, you can rewind, and I gave you my contact information so you can always email me with any questions that you have. Let's move on. Okay, So now I want to show you how to connect slides to themselves. The reason you're going to do that is to create a choose your own adventure story. You can reteach in the middle. You can say if they answer this wrong, bring them to this certain slide. You can also create things like Jeopardy games. So let's go. I'm going to go ahead and create a blank slide. And with this type of thing, you want to work smarter, not harder. And these are some things that you learn after you've started doing a whole bunch of these. So one thing is, if you're going to make a slide up here, let's say I'm going to use the example of a Jeopardy game. So if you're going to use the slide up here for like directions, or let's say for the Jeopardy board, and then every other slide is going to be the answers, then what you are going to need is on every other slide, you're going to need some kind of button or some kind of word to get back to the first slide, right? Because you don't want them clicking through the whole slideshow. You want them to always come back to the first slide. So if you're going to create anything like that, I'm going to do my blank slide. If you're going to create anything like that, then what I would strongly suggest you do is to put the little image or the word on a master slide. So I'm going to come here to edit theme. All of this plays well together. I know. And I'm going to go ahead and add a blank slide. Oh, or I don't know what I was about to try to do. Edit theme. Okay. So I'm going to delete this box. I keep trying to go to the arrow. You can't, all the layouts are already here, so you can't go there. So I am going to come here to insert image, search the web, and I'm going to go ahead and search for a home. Okay, and I'm going to double click, and now I have the home that I want to use. Usually I put it in the bottom right-hand corner. I mean, you don't have to do that by any means. That's just kind of what I usually do. But what we're going to do is we want to bookmark this back to number 1, slide 1. So I'm going to click it and then hit the insert link. So I want to hyperlink it. Just like if I wanted to hyperlink this, when you click it, you go to walmart.com, kind of same difference. So I'm going to click it, go to my insert link button. You can also go to insert link. And then instead of linking it to a website, I'm going to click slides in this presentation and say I want to send it to slide 1. I'm going to apply, and then I'm going to move this wherever I want to move it on every single slide. And I can go ahead and rename this and call it, answer slides. And again, my example is just with a Jeopardy game. And I'm going to go ahead and click the X. So then when I'm off there, I'm going to come here, and anytime I want to add an answer slide, I can just click that, and this is already linked. Let's prove it. So I'm going to come here, and I'm just going to type in, slide 1, just to prove what we're doing. And I'm going to hit present. So if my student was here, they would click it and go back to slide 1. So the cool thing is I don't have to do this after the fact. And now I can just right click and hit duplicate and get all of my answer slides. There you go. Or, there's other ways to do that, but there you go. So there you go. So now I can come here, and I would need to link all of the stuff on here. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a table for an example. I'm just going to do just a very quick, and I'm going to call this, who is that? Historians, food, and money. I have no clue what these categories would be, but 100, 200, 300, you get the point, right? 100, 200, 300. And you can make this table cute, because remember, when you click off of it is nothing. When you click on it, you got all kind of stuff to make it cute and change the colors and do all that kind of stuff. So these are 4 really, really awesome buttons. So if I wanted to make like all of the inside, like that, whatever color that is. If I wanted to make the outside, whatever color that is. If I wanted to make it thicker. So you get the point. Like, you have all kind of cute little stuff that is blinding me. You have all kind of stuff up here that you can use to make it cute, but you do have to click on it first to get all these little buttons. I'm just going to make mine super boring. That's what I do. So if I wanted to link these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight, go to the link button, and then link it to slides in this presentation. So let's say slide 2 was, who is that 100? Done. Slide 3 was, who is that 200? Done. Okay, so you get the point. So I would just go ahead and link all this, and then I will come and put the answers here because, of course, we're playing Jeopardy. So let's see how this looks. So I'm going to present. Welcome to Jeopardy! Yay! $100 question that I didn't put a house on. There we go. We're gonna act like that was the house. There you go. $200 question back here. So there you go. And you see, I didn't put a house on the first one. But that's how it would work. So that's how easy it is to link your slides to each other. Now, there is one more trick I want to show you with this. So one of the things that my teacher started finding was, okay, that's awesome. But what if I want to send them this as like a homework assignment, or I want to send it to them as a test prep, right? Just kind of a fun way to do test prep. You can do that, but if they do come to present, they can click anywhere and just go to the next slide, right? There's a way around that. And this is a little bit more of an advanced tip. So if you're like, I have enough, then you're good. But this is a little bit more of an advanced tip, and I don't mind showing it because it's a video and you can rewind it. So what you're going to do is you're going to insert a shape. And we're going to insert a big O square. And you may say, Desiree, why in the world did you make it that big? I did it on purpose. So I have a big O square. I'm going to right click on it, and I want to link it, or of course you can come up here to link it. I want to link the square to itself. So if I come here, I'm going to hit insert link, and I actually want to insert it to slide 1. And sometimes it does this where it doesn't let me see it. So let me make my square a little bit smaller so it can, or move it. Link to slide 1, apply. And then you may say, well, Desiree, well, I mean, you can't see the slide, boo-boo. I know. So I can come up here. Remember, I just showed you this. Everything connects. And I want to make it transparent. So I don't want to make it a color because I want to see through it. So I'm going to make it transparent. What? So now watch what happens. If I go to present, it looks like it's not moving at all, but it actually is connecting to itself. Now you may say, well, Desiree, now your links aren't working. Why do you keep finding problems is my question, right? I mean, just stop it. So yes, my links are not working. So I would want to do this before I did the links, or so what you'll want to do is right click on it and go to order and send it to the back. So what that did is it sent it kind of one layer back. So if I come here, it's still going to click on itself, but these are now active. Does that make sense? There you go. So you don't want to click on it, right click on it, go to order and send back. You don't want it to be behind everything. You just want to send it one layer backwards. So if you're not going to do this ahead of time, then you can do the boxes like I did. Right click, order, send backward, and then it's going to send it one layer back, and you can still click on all the links and be amazingly awesome. So that's how you can connect slides to each other. This is how you can do choose your own adventure. So you can do a slide where it has cake and pie. If they click cake, they go to correct. If they click pie, they go to incorrect. Yeah, I said it. But you know, however you want to do it. So this kind of opens up a new world for how slides can be done and how they can be interactive. I do want to show you, I like to call her, you know, I like to give credit where credit is due. And I like to call her the queen of interactive handouts. And you'll see them in a second. So I'm on my website. I'm just showing you this for an example. I didn't plan, as you can see, to show you this, but Nadine. So if you know Nadine Gilson, she is amazing at creating these kind of things. So this is actually a slideshow. And people be like, what program did you use? Slides. So you click it and you see she has like all of the different things. So I want to go to screen masking. She has a little house. She put a video in here, all kind of pictures. Go back to the house. Now I want to talk about this. And then you go back to the house and you talk about that. She creates so many of these things. And I always use hers as examples because they're always just awesome. So there you go. Click and review. So I want to talk about the toolbar. I mean, just awesome, right? So think about creating your handout that way and making it an interactive handout. Think about having your students create stuff that way. So it doesn't have to just be you. Your students can create this way as well. So, we're not done yet. So some other quick little tips that I want to make sure to get in, and then we're going to go through 3 kind of final things. Some quick tips is with your insert, when you're inserting audio or video. So we talked about inserting images and text box, shapes, word art. You see how I went through basic skills, even with this presentation? Smart. All right. So when you're inserting audio, the thing with audio is the audio has to be in your Google Drive. You really can't get audio from anywhere else. So the audio has to be in your Google Drive, and then you can, of course, click on it and the audio will be there. When you do insert audio, you have some nice little settings over here. So do you want the audio to play when you click on it, or do you want it to play automatically? That means as soon as you go to that slide, the audio will start. You also have a couple of cool things down here. Do you want it to loop the audio? So if it'll just keep playing, or do you not? Do you want to hide the icon? Now, if you say that you're going to click on it, you can't hide the little icon. And you can make it little, but you can't hide the icon because you have to have somewhere to click, right? So if you say just automatically play it, then you can say, well, we don't need to see the icon because we don't have to click on anything. You can also do the different volume, and you can stop the song or audio when you change the slide. So you have some nice little format options, and they have some other ones, so I'm not going through all of those. And I do want to tell you that if you ever get off of this or you don't see that pop up, notice your toolbar. If you click on it, you'll see format options, and there you go. Same thing with video. And then I'm gonna give you a tip for audio. Video. So your video can be from YouTube or your Google Drive. I'm going to just look up one of my videos. Why not? There we go. Yep, I love it. All right, so I have my video here, and the same thing with the format options. If you don't see them, click on the video, click on format options. There are some really awesome options here. One is to play the video automatically. So that means you don't have to click on it. I used to leave slideshows for substitutes, and I would just automatically play the video, right? I don't want them to have to click on it, that kind of thing. So you can play it automatically, or you can play it when I click on it. Oh, there you go. You can also mute the audio. That's a really awesome tool because we know that sometimes we want the video to play, but we don't want to hear it, right? We want to talk over the video. So you can mute the audio on the video, which is it's really awesome. And then the last thing is start and end. So if you're not a video editor, you can actually use this to start at a certain time and end at a certain time. So I'm going to say start at 30 seconds and end at a minute. That took a minute for me to put that in there. And then this didn't save. I didn't give it time. I didn't give it time to save. All right. So in 1 minute. Okay. Oh, I think I did it again, and you're still okay. Whatever. So you get the point, though. All right. So that's video and audio. A couple of cool things that can help you out. Another thing with audio is Mote. If you haven't played with Mote yet, M-O-T-E, it's an extension. So if you download the Mote extension, it's really, really helpful because now you can actually do audio right here on the fly. So I can click on my Mote extension, click to start. I want you to look at this slide and then choose cake or pie, and that's going to lead you on a journey. So I clicked it again to stop, and it says it's ready to insert. I can listen to it, but I know it's awesome. Hello. So I'm going to click insert. So now it's an audio file, and I didn't have to go through Google Drive to do it. Yay! You still have all the same options. So when I present, I want you recording. Notice that I am in the corner because I told it to embed my webcam. It's a lot of stuff going on. All right. Notice my drawing. It's a lot of audios and stuff going on, but you get my point. And you saw my video was muted because I told it to mute it, and it just started playing at the 30 seconds, I think. Did it? I don't know if that saved again, but yeah, okay, 30 seconds. Okay, so there you go. That is some cool little tips and tricks for what you already use. There's also some really cool ones for present. So when you present, you may recording. Oh notice that I'm in the corner. No, Desiree, no. So for present, you may think, well, you can't really make it interactive when you present unless you use something like Pear Deck, which is a really, really awesome add-on, or Nearpod, which is another add-on that you can use. But I'm going to come here to the three dots, and I'm going to go to caption preferences, and I'm going to turn on my captions. So what that's going to do is, as I'm speaking, it's going to actually type on the screen what I'm saying. It's not going to be perfect, but it makes it a little bit better for your students to see when you're thinking about accessibility. I can also come here and go to caption preferences and change it from the top or the bottom. I can also change the size. So that's medium. This is extra large, which I really love because it's so big, but it goes by faster depending on how fast you speak, right? Because the other one had 2 lines. If you go back to medium, you see that it's more on the screen at one time. So really awesome stuff. And there's some other really awesome stuff here, but I usually teach that in the basic class, and we want to stick to getting interactive. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my slideshow. I keep clicking it and I just keep not doing it. All right, so I'm going to stop my slideshow. And the last couple of things I want to tell you about are some external websites that can help you. So one external website is called Slides Go, and it's a place where you can get a whole bunch of slides that you can go with. You see what I did there? So if you can click here, if you want to try to use this theme, you can use it. Yes. Okay. You can use it as Google Slides or PowerPoint. Now you can kind of look at the theme and see how it looks. Honestly, I don't think I've ever used Slides Go. I know about it, but I always use Slides Carnival. So I'm going to agree. And then I just actually got a presentation from here that I thought was really awesome. And there's a lot of really nice presentations on here. You can even do them by color and things like that. So if I want to just say I want to use this one, there's a bunch in here. I like that one. Again, I can come down here and preview it and see the different layouts it has for me. And I can download it as PowerPoint, or of course, use it as Google Slides. If I want to use it as Google Slides, I'm going to click that and make a copy. When I make a copy, that is going to be in my Google Drive. Last but not least, not last but not least, is Slides Mania. If you haven't played around with Slides Mania, you're going to love me, but you really should love Paula because she's amazing. So Slides Mania, she creates a bunch of templates. Talk about interactive. Oh my goodness. So you can come here and just play. So if I want to use this one, for example, I can scroll down and see how it looks. I can click on it. Oh, I think this, okay, I think this is a thing. So you saw I clicked on one. I don't know what you click on and go back. I have no clue, but there you go. And then you can open in Google Slides, and then you can click Use Template. So when you click Use Template, you're actually going to have that be in your Google Drive again. So awesome sauce. And last tip of the day, because our time together is coming to an end, is how can I send this slide where it's going to open up in present mode. So if you notice when we looked at Nadine's, I clicked on it and it opened in present mode. That's what I want. I don't want my students to click this. Well, that actually is what I want. I don't want my students to be able to kind of just scroll down because that defeats the purpose. But I can't be there to click it for them all the time. So I want to do that automatically. So there's a couple of steps to do this. The first step is you need to make it shareable. So you see how this has a little lock? It can't be private. So I'm going to click on share. Yes, name it whatever you want to. So that's just because I didn't have a name. So I'm going to click on share. I thought it saved untitled as my name. So click on share, and then you're going to get on this screen. So you're going to go to get link. Ignore everything at the top, get link. But I can't just copy the link. That's not the link I need. I just want to make sure that it's not restricted. So I need to click share and just make sure that it's either share with just my district or share with anyone. Completely up to you. I'm going to put anyone and hit done. And you may say, well, that's why you didn't get the link. I know. So I can come up here and I'm just going to do it right here. But if it's not easy for you to do in the Omnibox, then just, copy it and go bring it somewhere else to do what I'm about to do. But I'm going to take the word edit and anything that comes behind the word edit, and I'm going to delete it. So just the word edit, and you will have the word edit if you do this like I'm showing you. Delete the word edit and anything that comes behind it. And you can type the word preview or you can type the word present. Either one will work. So when you do that, when you go to a new tab, it's going to open up in present mode. Woo, woo. So that's how you do it. Share, make sure it's shareable, delete, do that. Now there is an extension that can help you with that, but not the first step. The first step, you have to make it shareable. You have to do that. But there is an extension called Sir Links-a-Lot. I love Sir Links-a-Lot. Sir Links-a-Lot will do the link for you. So you have to go, you have to open up your Google, whatever, like your Google Doc, your Google Form, your Google Sheet, or Google Slide. So you have to open it up first, make sure it's shareable, and then click Sir Links-a-Lot. So Links-a-Lot gives you a forced copy link where if they click on it, it's going to force them to copy a template link, a preview link, or a PDF. So we want the preview link. So because we already made it shareable, there you go. So Links-a-Lot is a pretty cool extension. So I'm going to stop right there. You've gotten so many tips to make your Google Slides interactive.